Good evening. Early morning or the 2nd of March, certain events took place which left a deep trace on the history of the people and the state and have directly affected each and every one of us. It was an unprecedented event that has been commented on in different ways. What happened in Yerevan on the morning of the 1st of March and the 20 hours that ensued, this is what we will discuss with the first Deputy Head of Police, ter-petrosyan, and Deputy Head of Police, Sovanes. Good evening. Mr. Ter-petrosyan, the first question is perhaps for you. On Theatrical Square for about 10 days there were unlicensed demonstrations and the situation was under police control. It seemed like everything was calm. What happened then on the 1st of March? Why on that day it was decided to remove the demonstrators from the square? In reality, for 10 days the demonstrators were gathered at Theatrical Square and the police, though by virtue of law had the power to hold them responsible, did not do so. Perhaps the declining trend in the number of demonstrators and the possibility of resolving the issue by peaceful means were compelling us for the time being not to apply force and the law. However, the information obtained on the 29th of February forced us to think seriously as we got information from our operative services that the demonstrators had arms, ammunition. Steps were taken to move this ammunition and arms to the demonstrators. When such information was also received from the National Security Service, we saw that serious measures had to be implemented. And the first decision that was taken was for the police to go in and to carry out appropriate actions. A so-called site search, a site examination, a study, and if there were tents, then in the tents carry out searches and to seize the arms and ammunition. There was no need for us or an objective to free up Theatrical Square. This was not our objective. When our operative group went into the demonstrators, they confronted us with clubs and metal bars. We felt that they were already ready for the police to come. Even we were surprised. We were caught in a surprise. And this footage, you can see, it's very clear that the demonstrators confronted us in a certain way and started even to attack us. Here it's very clear how the demonstrators are attacking the police. Of course, it's somewhat dim. The video is not clear, but you see where the shields are. These are the police officers. And then the demonstrators on the other side are attacking the police officers. At first, we were not expecting such an attack. The police somewhat retreated, then mobilized themselves and carried out appropriate measures with shields and truncheons. This was the only arm that police were carrying. As instructed by their leadership, they had no firearms. They had shields, helmets and truncheons. Afterwards, of course, the police were able, and if you could actually play back the video, I would be very grateful, because it's very important to see it, because there's a lot of speculation that the police went in and started battering the demonstrators. Yes, indeed, there is a lot of speculation, says the commentator. At first, without even truncheons, without even helmets, or even shields, the police were trying to go in and to carry out appropriate actions. Their harsh reaction and their attack caused police to retreat. See, they're attacking. See, our police cannot resist this attack at first before they mobilize for people's attack. They were armed with metal sticks, bars, shields themselves, and they were throwing, well, you probably have showed these already. They threw at us, on our staff, the so-called metal hedgehogs is what they were named. You probably have shown these on the videos. Round items made of metal with sharp edges, and they caused a lot of damage to the police. So what did they do with it? They were just throwing those on the police, and anyone who was hit by it was seriously injured. They were heavy and they had sharp edges. So even the shields would not help, you say. Well, of course, if it hit the shield, it wasn't an issue, but if it passed the shield, because only the first row of police officers had shields, but if it was thrown from the top, then it would hit the body parts of the police, and hitting any body part, it would cause serious injuries. It would inflict serious injuries to the police officers. Most of the injuries on theatricals were caused by these hedgehogs and the metal sticks. Now, afterwards, for about an hour and a half, we got information that people were assembling near the French embassy. Was it not possible to prevent the accumulation of people there? Could you, Mr. Hunanian, please answer this question? Well, I would perhaps take up your question. On Theatrical Square, it seemed like everything was over. The demonstrators were removed from the square, and we were carrying out operative investigative measures to seize the firearms, ammunition, and narcotics that were found there. With this aim, we encircled the opera through the police troops. At about 11:30 a.m. or about noon, we received an alarm that people were building up. People were starting to gather near the French embassy. With Deputy Police Chief Afyan, we immediately went to the scene of the events. Once we reached the scene, we saw what we could not have expected. We saw that right in front of the French embassy, there were about 1,000 citizens who had built barricades. They had seized trolley buses, and cars passing the street, and had encircled that part of the street. In front of the Myasnikian statue next to the embassy also, there were about 1,500 to 2,000 people. Our immediate objective was to remove these people from the vicinity of the embassy, because something unexpected could happen any moment. We made a demand that they leave the vicinity of the embassy. Several hot-head demonstrators immediately climbed the trolley buses and the buses which were there. They got on top of the trolley buses armed with clubs, metal sticks. Several of them had bottles with liquid fuel, and they declared that if there's any violence against them, they would be ready to burn down the buses and the area.